Hello and welcome to Logan Sounds Off, where we talk about books, music, and a whole lot more. I'm your host, Logan Kelly. So hello and welcome to Logan Sounds Off. Today I'm interviewing Col Patterson. How are you, Col?
I'm very good, Logan. How are you?
I'm brilliant, thanks for asking. So welcome to Logan Sounds Off, Col.
Thank you
For
very
those who
much.
don't know you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Colin Patterson. I'm from Kildare town, a town you might know well yourself. I I've been doing music for all my life, really, but I only came back to it in the last 8, 9 years, and started to get into recording in about the last 6 years or so. And I've always loved music. I've always loved from when I was a kid. I loved listening to music on the radio, and even taping it off the radio. And when I was only 3 or 4 years of age, I my parents used to have Elvis Presley records, and I used
Yeah.
to take them, and I didn't destroy them, but I used to take them out, and I used to look at them, and I just played them constantly over and over again on their old vinyl player. And that was my first sort of memory of music, because I just thought the music was so cool.
Yeah.
And I saw this guy on the cover of Logan, the Elvis Presley, and he had this little sort of thing on his head, little curl. And I remember the night before my school photo. Remember, I was only 3 or 4 now. I got some scissors out and I cut my fringe without my mum and dad knowing. So I got into trouble, but I survived that. And yeah, music's been a part of me all my life. I just remember we had a white piano when I was that age, 3, 4, 5, and nobody else in the house would play it, and I just used to go to it and just tinkle on it, or I just took to it, and I try and work out music, any songs off the radio. I try and work it out by ear. I was very, very lucky that I had a good ear for music, and it served me well all through my life. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's where my first musical memory came from, anyway. So.
Wow. And then I'd actually read that you loved Elvis Presley. And I must ask, did you have any other influences growing up?
Yeah, I'd loads. I was lucky. I mean, I know, yourself, that your mom and dad probably influenced yourself,
Oh, big
and I was the
time.
same. Yeah, same here, big time as well. My mom and dad, they were Irish, but from Monaghan and Kildare, but they lived in London in the 60s and 70s, and they bought all the singles every week. They buy these 45s and sometimes LPs. And so they'd have a mixture of Irish musicians, Irish pop stars, and people like, I don't know, Big Tom and Margot and people like that. And then on the other side, they'd have all the guys who are, like the Beatles. They'd have singles by the
Yeah.
Beatles. Um, so I still have some of them around the place. Procol Harum were a band then. There was,
Yeah.
do you know who they're into? Oh, Buddy Holly as well. He's a big one as well. And Bill Haley, I don't know. He seemed to be a big one for them. He was kind of like, I suppose he was like rock and roll, the first sort of rock and roll
Oh,
show band sort of thing over there. He was a
wow.
big star then as well. Yeah. So they influenced me first, and then after that, I had some brothers, older brothers, and when they were trying to steal sweets off me, they were putting on their own records, and they were big into, say, the late 70s. Logan, they'd be big into the Jam, the Clash,
Yeah.
David Bowie. Yeah, you like them.
Yeah.
The Police, all good stuff. Sex
Yeah.
Pistols, because punk was becoming big.
Yeah.
And who else was there? The Undertones were another. They were kind of from Derry,
Wha-
and Teenage Kicks. I'm sure you've
Quick.
heard of all of
Yeah,
these.
yeah. Quickly asking though, also Ramones as well.
Oh, the Ramones,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. They used to wear these stickers on their. They used to have these. Go to the secondhand
Yeah.
shops and they buy these old army coats, and they put these stickers on their arms. So my brother Tom would have one of. He had David Bowie in one arm. He had the
Yeah.
Jam on another, and
That's a
the
bit
Ramones
weird.
featured.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. Having the
Yeah,
jam on one leg and David Bowie on your left arm. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
Actually,
It's
I've
strange.
got the Ramones t-shirt there.
Oh, good
Um,
man. Yeah, yeah.
and
I,
also
I have one
patches.
somewhere.
Yeah,
I have a Ramones
patches
t-shirt somewhere.
also.
They're really cool bands,
Yeah,
But yeah, they were a big influence on me because all three of them were into music and were playing guitars, and they would. There was a band when we were growing up. The Guilfoyles were our neighbors, and they had a garage band going every Sunday. And I think it was my eldest two
wow.
brothers, Paul and Tom, would go over, and they play stuff by Joy Division and stuff
Yeah,
by Teenage Kicks was a big song there. They play that over and over and over again. And we go over as kids, myself and a few of my friends, we were no age, and we just sit in and watch them play or try to play. We thought they were great. They probably weren't great, but they were great to us. And they made a big loud sound in the countryside, and on the Sunday. So it was something interesting in the area. And yeah, they would have stirred me on as well, Logan, to get into the music. And all this time, I was still playing the piano. Like I wouldn't have got much training in it. I did a few lessons for a year or two, with a lovely lady called May McInerney from McInerney's pub, which is called the Harp now in Kildare town. And we used to go there maybe twice a week after school for lessons. So I did a couple of years of lessons, but then poor Mrs. Mac, she got very old and she passed away. And I just kept going all the years. And they basically all my influences would have come from my parents, my brothers,
yeah,
and the radio. Huge fan of the radio. Have the cassette recording all the songs.
yeah,
Larry Gogan's big one, top 40. So try and work out all the songs. That was my thing, trying to
yeah.
work out the songs.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's great. I really enjoy doing that, Logan. And my brother Kev used to encourage me, he tried and show me off to his friends. I was always kind of shyer than everyone else in the family, unfortunately. But I would be playing piano somewhere or in a keyboard shop or something. And Kevin would say, "Hey, look at this guy." And I'd do something like Axel F or one of those old keyboardy songs from the 80s. And next thing I turn around and there's a few lads behind me and there'd be a woo. And I just feel like running away. So yeah,
Wow.
I really enjoyed working out songs, and that was my early years of playing music. I've been influenced.
That's very cool. And then you're saying with your eldest brothers in the band.
Yeah,
It wasn't just them, you were in the boat too. And that you and your cousins formed the Vinyl Heads.
that's
What
right.
was that like? Now I can't wait to hear this.
Okay, well, what happened was, I mean, there was a lot of years where I wasn't playing music. Like when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, and that I was playing some covers bands around.
Yeah.
We play around the country. I play keys, so I'd be in the background. I was quite content to be in the background. And then I was working away in Dublin, and then maybe about 10 years ago, I wasn't so well, and I moved back to Kildare, moved back home. My cousins I've two cousins in Monaghan, two in Roscommon, and they figured, Col needs a bit of cheering up, so they started coming down here to Kildare, and we started. My dad had an old workshop out the back, and we used to go out there once or twice a week, and they used to drive down from like all parts. And fair play to them, we just started doing covers, all the whatever was going, like Tom Petty or Oasis or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of our cousins was going to have a wedding, and we said, will we try and do something in the pub for her, will we? And we did. We did a gig, and it went well. And then they kept coming. We wrote a song, then we wrote another song, and eventually we started thinking, oh, maybe we'll record one or two. So we called ourselves the Vinyl Heads, and I think my cousin Brian drew this image of all these lads with records on their heads, and that was our kind of branding. So we didn't know what we were doing, Logan. We're only doing it for fun.
How do you know what
But
it'd be better than what I do, so
Well, no, I'm sure you're amazing,
Oh
you
no,
know.
I
Are
think
you
it'd be quite cool though, this vinyl heads. Look, I'm liking this. Continue, please.
yeah. It was an interesting look. And we got in touch with a guy in Meath in Kells, Martin Quinn, who I still record with to this day. And we decided to record a song and see how it goes. We recorded one called what was it? Everything Under the Sun, and it was our first song. And we sent it into Radio One and a few stations. And a guy, I think it was Alf McCarthy. Alf McCarthy used to do Late Date years ago, and he played it. And we were amazed. We were going, "Wow, this is amazing!" How, to hear yourself on the radio. And
Yeah.
we kept going with the recording, kept going back and forth, and eventually we got an album together under the vinyl heads, and it was called Kicks. And the Kick song was the main song. I kind of wrote that about Kildare Town, actually. About I put in all kinds of references to Chapel Hill and the garage band next door, Guilfoyles, and Silk and Thomas is in there. But it was a song that seemed to get a bit of traction on the radio. John Cretan really liked the album. He
Yeah,
started
John
playing it.
Green.
Yeah, John's a big hero of mine, and
Same here,
he's
ditto.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing, isn't he? Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to be
Uh,
listening to him tonight. Cannot.
yeah. I'll try and tune in as well. I try and tune in as often as I can, actually, Logan, because he seems, you know, what he's great at connection. He would play,
Yeah,
if you know yourself as a fan,
yeah,
he play two or three songs in a row, and
yeah.
there'll be a connection there, whether it's they sound the same or there's an artist.
Yeah,
It may be connected, played on one and back and focus on another, or wrote one or two of the
like you do
songs.
U2 and then you do Inhaler.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah, like that. Yeah,
yeah,
son, and father. Yeah,
yeah,
and Inhaler are great too, aren't they?
yeah,
Up and coming
actually.
band. Yeah, they're amazing. So yeah, John got behind it, and KFM in Kildare were very good to me as well. People like Paul Power there, they got behind it, and then over the years, oh, actually, BBC Six played it, which was
Yeah,
amazing.
I
That
read
was
about that going, wow.
Yeah, that blew us away as well. We didn't know what to do. I mean, we weren't expecting that at all. We were kind
Oh,
of yeah, the guy called Tom Robinson, who used to be an amazing, he still is actually, but he used to be a big star in the 70s and 80s. And he heard it and he selected the song as, I think it was recommend song of the week. And it meant that it got played every day for a week on BBC Six with Lauren Laverne and different people.
wow.
And it was a huge deal. Now, unfortunately for us, we were just doing this sort of for the crack to see, we sent it in to see where it goes. But if we were a bit younger maybe, or didn't have so many commitments, like some of them were married and some of my kids and that, you would have to get up and go touring in England and stuff to back that up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I mean, for me, music has always been like, it was just something I wanted. It was just something in me. And then the songwriting seemed to come a bit natural later on. I just enjoyed doing that. It was a release for me. So it just gave me a bit of validation that I could probably write a song, and the fact that it got on the radio. And then like Radio One were in particular really good to me. People like Lillian Smith, there's Cathal Murray as well, Feek No Brain On.
yeah,
They're
Fiona
all
Brown.
he's amazing, isn't he? And
Yeah,
he's releasing a lot of good solo songs now, as well
yeah,
as the Hollow's Flowers, and he's a lovely guy. And all those
yeah,
people, they seem to be all genuine sorts. They're all really nice people. So I was really chuffed, and the cousins were chuffed, and I kept it going since that. I got on and to do another album then after that, Logan, 2 years later under my own name, uh, and it was called Hangover Moon. And
yeah,
yeah, so it went down really well. I got some nice reviews for that, and people in the Irish Times and Hot Press and that. And that gave me even more confidence, because my confidence is always a bit shaky in life. So to be sort of told nice things about yourself, while I kind of don't know how to take it sometimes, but it just gave me a bit of confidence in myself that maybe I can write a song, maybe I can, you know,
Wow.
do these things, get on the radio and make people happy and that, you know. And a lot of the songs, you know, would be kind of, I try and write about things that affected me or real things in life. And so it gave me a bit of validation, you know, that I could do this, you know. So there you go. So
Wow.
you know, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Are you a musician yourself? A bit of
Like,
one.
I'm learning guitar there. My
Yeah, I
dad's
see the
bass is
guitars.
there. I love the
Oh wow,
guitar,
your
yeah.
dad's a
And then
player.
I use a thing called BandLab and Cakewalk, and
Yes.
I
Yeah,
use
oh
samples
wow.
and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I try using effects and stuff on recordings. And that works
Wow.
actually out very well. And then I published an album. It's not very good. No.
Oh well, listen,
No, I
that's
did act.
amazing.
No, you
Oh,
can't
come
really
on.
say anything. But I made that on
So,
BandLab. I released that. Um, and I actually wanted to say something when you were
yeah,
talking
go ahead.
there. You answered like nearly three of my questions, or you
Oh,
read them
sorry.
three. No, no, no. I'm more amazed than anything. I was gonna ask. I read that you recorded an album with Martin Quinn. How did that come about? You say answered that. What inspired you
Right.
to start a solo career as a musician? You touched on that.
You
And what was
touched
it
on
like
that.
getting such a good reaction on your debut album, Hangover Moon, which you touched on that? So I'm
Yeah.
starting to run out.
Ah, no. All I'd say is about Hangover Moon was I was again, I went back to Martin. Martin's a great guy. He would have
Yeah.
recorded people like the Stripes. They
Yeah,
were
the White
quite a
Stripes.
no,
Wow.
there's an Irish band called the Stripes as well. I
Oh,
think
oh,
they're Strypes, and they were
oh.
from Cavan. They were big. They were very big there. They were making a big
History.
noise in England and
Wow.
America for a while, you know. And but he's a great guy. He would play some guitar for me because I can do the acoustic stuff, but he'd have all the tricky stuff. You know, I'm sure you're
Yeah.
pretty good at that, and
Kind
your
of.
dad. But I can do the chords okay.
Yeah.
And his brother Andrew would help me out on drums if I needed it, or I bring some beats. Like I use Cubase myself. It's just I kind of stuck in my ways, so I started using it years ago, and I've stuck with it. And it's what I do is I prepare the songs at home, Logan, as well as I can, and I try and work out some decent sounds that I like to be in it.
Yeah.
And you do a little demo vocal in that, you know, and then I bring it to Martin, or I might send it before I go and give him a listen, and then he would, you know, we get there, we have some ideas, and we'd start working on things from the drums up. Start with the drums, and then eventually end up with the vocals. And he's just a lovely friend at this stage, and we work together. As I said to you, I was with him there just last week for a couple of days. That was my first time in with him for a long time because of family things. And so I was just delighted and relieved to get back to recording again. It felt so good, you know. And we did a couple of new songs, which will feature on hopefully the new album, which hopefully will be in the new year. I hope that wasn't one of your questions, but I'll come back to it
Oh,
if it
oh
was.
no, 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 no.
And
I'm actually looking at the question going, it's looking at
but
it now.
it was really good, a really good session, you know.
Yeah,
It's great when you work with someone like him who's friendly and patient, because you know, I'm sure it must be very frustrating being a kind of a recording engineer and producer, that you'll get all sorts of people in, and some people will be very demanding. I'm sure I'm not really like that. I'm kind of, you know, I listen, I
laid
like
back.
to, yeah, I
Yeah,
laid back, but you know,
yeah.
Martin's
In a good
he's a
way.
perfectionist in a good way. Yeah, Martin
Yeah.
is, he wants things to be right, but I take on board what he says every time. And yeah, I've a couple of new songs done. I have some old songs done. I have some new ideas coming through. I'm probably going to put a song out in let me see, maybe the end of November, early December. I'll tell you first about it when it comes out, so
Oh,
that I'll
yes.
give you an exclusive on
You
it. I'll
got
send it on to you.
those little secrets.
Those little secrets, yeah.
Yeah,
It might be sort of Christmassy. I did a Christmas song
yeah.
a few years ago called Lilytown about
Oh
Kildare.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a very good song
Well,
actually.
thanks very much, Logan. It's quite a simple song, but I just
Yeah.
thought, it'd be nice to have one sort of about the town. It's very hard to do a song called Kildare Town. I just thought we're Lily Whites, we call it Lily Town, and
That is, I
you know,
actually never thought about that.
yeah, yeah.
God,
So
okay,
I just
well,
thought it sort of took off a life of itself a couple of years ago, and a lovely person called Claire Blender Hassett, who's an actress and a video maker. She took a lot of shots to Kildare with the Christmas lights and the people and the market. And we got a bit of snow in there. We got a few local heads in there, like Mario Corrigan and Guns John Joe is in there as well. He's a great drummer in the town, Guns Houlihan. And they're in there sort of throwing bits of snow at each other and stuff like that. So it's a funny video, but
yeah,
it's nice. It's nice because it's about the town. And I like to write things that I know and I just know about, Kildare is part of me and it's part of you too, I know. But it's just nice to have a song about the town that gets on KFM, the last few years, gets on Radio 1 the last few years. So I've been very lucky in that regard that I have a song like that. And I'll have a song that will have it'll have a winter feel, I suppose. It might have a Christmas feel.
yeah,
Let's see. I don't know yet.
yeah.
Let's see. But I'll let you know first.
You're the first. Now,
Yeah.
I turned on to the next page of my questions, and what you touched on two others. I think you did.
I just shut up for now, will I?
No. It's fine. It's actually very handy for me.
Yeah.
So how is it getting the position #1 on the RTE Airplay
Oh yeah.
in November 2021 with your single "Hard Listens Out"?
Yeah. That blew my mind. You might get the impression that it probably did, because it's the last thing I was expecting was it to do really well. I recorded Heart Listens Out. You probably interviewed a lot of people and said, "Oh, COVID, a lot of things happened during COVID." I kind of wrote it about being sort of, I do a lot of things from the heart rather than from the head, but I usually get impressions of people, and judge them. I'm a quite emotional person, I suppose, and being stuck in the house, been stuck in, and you kind of can't escape your head a lot. You can go for a walk during COVID. You know what I mean? And I wrote the song about sort of the battles between the heart and head, and trying to get a balance on life and a perspective on life during those times. And ultimately the heart wins out, the heart listens out, kind of thing was the idea behind the song. And it's quite piano-y in it actually as well. And I was really surprised that it went really well, and DJs were very nice to me. A lot of local stations played it, and then the likes of Radio 1 again, they put it on their airplay list, which blew me away. And it became the most played song on the Radio 1 playlist for about 3 weeks in a row. I think it's this time last year. It was around October anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was amazing. I was going, wow, what will I do with this? So it's kind of, I like, I love, it's lovely to hear your songs on the radio, but sometimes I kind of have that imposter syndrome where I'm going, I look at other bands and they're all the time playing gigs and all that.
Yeah.
I kind of, since my cousins and that, we did play some gigs and we did some festivals, but without them, it's a bit harder for me to play gigs, you know what I mean? So I've been a bit slow to embrace that, but I kind of, hopefully next year I will do a few more. And I did something back in February in the town. I felt like a duck out of water, for a while, because it's the first time in years I'd sort of done anything. So hopefully I'll embrace it a bit more next year when the album comes out, you know what I mean? And hopefully I'll have an album out next year, early next year. That's the plan anyway. I'm nearly there,
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Heart Listens was great. Really, really good to me, Logan. Really good to me. And
certainly was.
Yeah.
Thank you. Then you've touched on this, yes. Apart from many other instruments, with the piano, do you actually play anything else? Like you touched on guitar.
Yeah, I took up the guitar maybe in my 20s and just I found it just the rhythm. I've always played with the rhythm from even from the keyboard side of things. You were asking me about heroes earlier on. There were
Yeah.
two bands like say like the Doors, and there's a band called the Stranglers. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Wow.
They have
I've heard of the Doors and the Stranglers,
yeah, yeah,
certainly.
yeah. Well, they both featured amazing, really gifted keyboard players called Ray Manzarek in the Doors and Dave Greenfield, who just passed away there last year with COVID. And the two of them kind of played rhythm. And I always got that, you know, they go do 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 do, and I try and learn songs like Light My Fire and songs like that, you know, the kind of big solos in it, and so rhythm has always been sort of something that I would veer towards, you know, and same with guitar. I found guitar sort of freed me up with writing songs. I started going, oh, this is great, you know, you really get into it, and you
Yeah.
move and everything, and I really enjoyed learning the guitar because just working out chords and then trying to write songs was a bit easier actually on guitar because you can kind of, you know, yourself when you're playing guitar, you can let it flow, let it go,
Yeah.
you know, and play a little bit of drums. There's an old drum kit out in the out in the, I have a small little sort of practice studio, so I've a bit of drums out there too, and yeah, that's about it really. I won't claim to play violin or the
Ah,
bazooka or any of those things, you know. So yeah.
and then yeah, yeah, I've touched on this, yes. Any gigs or albums lined up? Like obviously your album, can you tell us anything else?
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, hopefully, you know, I've lots of ideas and have to maybe a few more recordings to go through. Hopefully later this year, and you know, hopefully get the album out maybe February, March, something like that. Um, and then we'll do some maybe some local gigs maybe to on the back of that, and we'll see where it goes from there. As I say, it's been a while since I dipped my feet into it, kind of into the water of playing
Yeah,
live. You know, it comes naturally to some people, and I guess you know I'm not a huge show off when it, you know, but I do love playing. I think there is something about the audio.
go.
So many there's so many great albums out from Irish artists at the moment. Like One Morning in August from Waterford. Jackie L has an album coming out soon. There's Sive had the brilliant album out this year. She's from North Kildare. Claire Sands, she's from the West Farm. She sent me her album. I just arrived today. It's kind of a mixture of Irish stuff and Irish language stuff as well. It's amazing. So there's so many albums out there, and next year hopefully I'll have mine out there maybe February, March, all going well, Logan. And you know, there's so much good music out there, so it's hard to get on the radio. It's hard to get heard, you know. But all I can do is make it and put it out to the world and see how it goes, and hopefully people will like it and appreciate it. And yeah, I'm always blown away. I'm always sort of surprised when I hear something nice about something I've done, and I just hope that continues because it's nice to be nice, as Pogo should say, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's it. You know, I that's my plan for next year. Hopefully that'll happen, and we'll see how the gigs go with it. Hopefully there'll
Yeah.
be a few local gigs at least in a way, and maybe a launch night and stuff like that. So yeah, something to look forward to.
Well, I've run out of questions.
No problem.
But I just want to say thank you so much, Col, for coming
Listen,
on
it's a
because it's
pleasure.
been such a pleasure to talk to you and a bit of crack too. Which to be honest, we need a bit of that on the podcast. So thank
Yeah.
you.
No problem, Logan. Let me say you're a little hero of mine now because you know I'm amazed at what you do. Not just music, you do your no, you reading reviews as well. And I'm going to get my wife to listen to your podcast because she's a voracious reader, and she will lap up some of your recommendations, and my nephews too actually as well.
Thank you.
So
And
no
actually, a
problem.
book that I'm going to be reviewing pretty soon is a Dave Fanning book called The
Oh
Thing
wow.
Is. That's literally, it's a brilliant.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
that it's a biography that I'm going to be doing soon.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
I hope that gets some kind of response with it. Because
I'd say you'll get Dave on at some stage because he's an
yeah.
amazing guy, isn't
Well, I
he?
met Dave.
Did you?
Yes, I met Dave and I had a talk with them. We had a bit of a mini debate about Fontaine's DC and how they were good slash bad slash and that
Yeah,
was very
yeah.
funny. And I got a couple of pictures with them, and I've still
Oh
got some of
wow.
them now. So I'm very
Brilliant.
happy.
Does Dave talk as fast in real life?
Yes. Yes, he very
Yeah,
much does. And I tell you, when you're reading the book, for
yeah.
some reason you read it fast like he's speaking to you. So
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
can't escape him.
You can't read it in
So
his voice.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then he'd talk halfway through a song. You'd be recording a song, and the next thing you know, and that was our God.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I met him, and he was very funny to talk to.
Yeah.
He was
That's
so
great.
funny.
He'd be a hero of a lot of people, Dave Fanning, you
Yeah, oh
know.
yeah, big time.
So
Especially my
he's
dad actually. He was there when
yeah.
he was with Dave Fanning. On the outside he was serious, on the inside he was just like, oh, I can
Oh my
see
God.
him.
Yeah.
But thank you anyways.
No problem, Logan. It's
It's
my
so
pleasure.
fun.
I hope that was okay. I don't know. I don't know how it was, but anyway, it was a pleasure
That was
meeting you on
brilliant. Yeah.
here. And good luck with everything you do because you're an amazing guy. I really hope you keep this going because you know you're a star in my eyes. So thank you, Logan, and
Thank you,
take care.
Paul.
Okay,
See
man.
ya.
See
Bye.
ya. Bye bye.
Thank you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Logan Sounds Off. And if you have any questions or requests, you can email logansoundsoff@gmail.com.